Hey everyone, it's Jess and welcome back to my channel. It is the 1st of February, which means that Valentine's Day is just 2 weeks away, and although I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day personally, it's not something that I really see the point of. I'm not really a romantic, soppy type of person. That kind of thing just puts me off generally, but every now and then I do like to divulge in the occasional romance book. And I really wanted to get involved and just do a bunch of Valentine's Day themed book tags. But back in November, I developed an idea for this book tag, and it's something that I've been so excited about, and I'm so glad to finally be putting it up and sharing it with you guys. And this book tag is called the Love Hearts book tag because it is centered around these little goodies here. These are sweets. You get them in the UK. I don't know if you get them anywhere else in the world, but these sweets are called Love Hearts, and I've loved them ever since I was a kid. I remember my dad used to buy me these sweets quite a lot, and they're just cute because they have little romantic kind of messages on them, and it's always nice to give them to your partner on Valentine's Day or just any day in general. It's always quite a fun little thing to do. But yeah, so this one has all mine on it. You can't see that. I'm really sorry. Can you see it? No, but this one says all mine on it, and yeah, they just have really cute quotes, miss you, things like that. So I thought I would create a book tag centered around some of the quotes on these sweets. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight in to the questions. So question number 1 is, I love you. What is your all-time favourite romance book? So like I said, I don't read a lot of romance, so it wasn't very difficult for me to pick one off the list of romance books that I have read. But my favourite romance book of all time at the moment is Hold Back the Stars by Katie Kahn. So I read this a couple of years ago, and I wasn't expecting to love this one as much as I did, but this is a very different romance book in the sense that it is set in space, and we're following these two astronauts who end up in a very dangerous situation. They've been friends for years, and yeah, they end up in this situation where they only have about 60 minutes left to live. They only have 60 minutes worth of oxygen left, and it's all about them just kind of revealing their feelings to each other while also trying to survive the perils of space and not die, essentially. And I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was absolutely incredible. The pacing in this book was astonishing as well, and I just really enjoyed this, and I would really encourage you to read it if you haven't, because it is a very unique romance story. So question 2 is, be happy. What is a book that makes you incredibly happy every time you read it? And this doesn't have to be a romance book. This can be literally any book that you like, one of your favourite books ever. And one of mine is Dracula. You guys know how much I love this book, so I'm not going to talk about it too much because we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I first read this book when I was a very young teenager, and I've read it so many times since then. It's just amazing every single time, always puts a big smile on my face. It is definitely one of my all-time favourite books and my favourite spooky read. Not really romantic, but there we go. And then another book that makes me incredibly happy is The Humans by Matt Haig. I do want to reread this at some point this year because I remember the first time I read it and it just made me feel so many things, but above all else, it made me laugh and it made me smile. And I just love this book so much. It is another one of my favourite books of all time. And just the feelings of warmth and happiness that this book gives me when I finish it is like nothing can compare. So definitely this one as well. So question 3 is date me, and that is a book character / characters that you would date. And one of the book characters that I really fancied was Sebastian from the Beautiful. I read this book last year, and although this book wasn't as amazing as I hoped it would be, Sebastian was everything that I wanted. He was dark and brooding, mysterious, a bit of a bad boy, but he had a bit of a soft side as well, and I definitely want to see more of him in the sequel, which is called The Damned. So very intrigued to read it just for him alone. Then, just because I didn't want to keep it to one, I have a lot of book boyfriends, but Loki, I've picked this book here just because it is Loki themed, but Loki in general, from any of the comics or any of the films, I absolutely love Loki. Not only is he a little shit, but he is a lot of fun, and they got Tom Hiddleston to play him in the films, which was a big mistake, because if they don't want people to like the bad boys, they shouldn't cast hot British actors in those roles. I'm just saying, but I love Loki. He seems like a lot of fun to be around, and he just makes me laugh all the time. What more could you ask for from a guy? And then we've got Jacoby by William Ritter. This is a very recent read for me, and I think I mentioned actually in my December wrap-up video that I fancied the pants of Jacoby. He is a Sherlock Holmes type character. That's who he was inspired by, and I do find Sherlock Holmes kind of attractive because he is intelligent. It's just his mind that is really sexy, and it's the same with Jacoby, but he was also very dashing and just very charming and suave, and I would really like to get to know him because I definitely think he's my kind of guy. A little add-on to this question, which I thought would be quite fun to include, so we're going to call it 3.5, and that is text me. Would you date a non-reader? So I am dating a non-reader. I mean, he reads graphic novels, so that counts. But he's more interested in his games and things like that. But it's fine, it works okay for us because he will go and play his games and I will go and sit in the living room and read. Like, yeah, I'm not really bothered. I don't mind if my partner doesn't read, but I think if you asked him if he would date a reader, I don't know what he'd say. I mean, he's got no choice. He's stuck with me now, but you know, it'd be interesting to get his answer on that, considering I tend to neglect him for hours on end for my books, and yeah, I just take over the whole house with my books. But anyway, I digress. Moving on to question 4, which is, dream on, what's your favourite romantic setting in romance books and what is your ideal date? So for me, my favourite setting in romance books would be somewhere like Paris or Florence, a European city, but those two in particular just because they have a very romantic atmosphere anyway. They are places that people consider romantic, places that people would go on their honeymoons and weekends away, things like that. So I always love reading romance books set in Paris. I just find it so atmospheric and so much fun, and there are so many endless possibilities in that city. Like, it's huge. But as I mentioned with Hold Back the Stars, I thought the setting of space in that book was really unique and interesting, and it definitely added a very different dynamic to the characters' relationship in that. So I would say space as well, and I would love to see more romance books set in space. If you guys have any recommendations for me on that, then please let me know because I would really appreciate it. But for me, my ideal date would probably be, yeah, like a day trip in Florence. I have a obsession with Florence that is absolutely insane, and I don't know where it came from because I've never been to Florence. I've never been to Italy. I've never been to mainland Europe, let alone Florence. So I don't know why I'm so obsessed with that city, but there's just something about it that I really, really love. So I would love to just spend the day with my other half in Florence, go to the Uffizi Gallery, see some of the Renaissance art, see the Duomo, go and eat some really nice Italian food, pasta, pizza, and then maybe go somewhere and just go for a nice long walk through the streets and then sit on a balcony in the hotel, sipping wine, watching the sun go down. That would be my perfect date. At the minute, obviously, we can't do that, so maybe one day though, one day. Question 5 is kiss me. What's your favourite scene from a romance book? So mine would probably have to be from Ziggy, Stardust and Me. This is another recent read actually, and I haven't really stopped thinking about this book since I read it, and it's so beautiful, and it's a male-male romance, and we're following this 17-year-old boy called Jonathan who meets a Native American boy called Webb, and their relationship is just so stunning. But the one scene that stands out for me in this book is their first kiss, and it is probably my favourite romantic scene of all time because it's just written so beautifully and there is so much tension between the characters, and the writing is just so lyrical, which really adds to the atmosphere to the story, and it has so much meaning, and I love it so much. Please go and read this book if you haven't. It is an emotional read, but yeah, the scene from this book, pretty much any romantic scene from this book, but that one in particular just really gets me. So question 6 is let's party. Which 3 characters would you invite to a party and why? So my first choice would be Loki because, as I said before, he is a lot of fun. He would definitely create mischief, and I just feel like you could have a really great time with him. He's definitely, in my opinion, a party animal. He knows how to have a good time. My second pick would be Cersei from Game of Thrones because she knows how to drink her wine, and I feel like I could just sit there with her and get through a couple of bottles of red and just judge people. Sounds like a lot of fun. And then my third pick would be Van Helsing from Dracula because he would be my bodyguard and he would make sure that no one upsets me or hurts me or my friends. Yeah. So question 7 is you rock. What is a romance book that you would recommend to everyone? And if you don't read romance, then this could be just some books that you really, really like. It doesn't matter what genre. So the romance books that I would recommend would be these 2 that I've mentioned, Hold Back the Stars and Ziggy, Stardust and Me. 2 of my favourite romance books of all time, and I just really liked everything about them. The settings, I love the characters, the writing. Both have got great tension, both have got great character developments, great plots. Just really encourage you to read both of these if you haven't already. Another book that I want to mention, but I probably wouldn't recommend this to everyone now that I think about it, is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So this is more erotica than romance. I mean, who am I kidding? It's just erotica from start to finish, but this is all about a girl in her early 20s who ends up developing a sexual relationship with her boyfriend's dad, her ex-boyfriend's dad, I should say. And yeah, I was very taken aback by this book when I first started reading it because I wasn't expecting it to be as graphic as it was. I knew what it was about. The subject is a bit of a taboo topic, but I kind of like that. So I kind of knew a little bit what to expect, but oh my gosh, like the writing is very graphic. So if you are not into erotica, don't read this book. But if you are into erotica, definitely read this book because it will get you very hot and bothered very quickly. And I really enjoyed it. I'm not ashamed to admit that I really enjoyed every second of this book. I listened to the audiobook actually, and it was narrated by a male and a female voice because it is written from the two perspectives of the girl and the ex-boyfriend's dad. So it was kind of cool to see both of their like thought processes and things as the relationship developed. But yeah, this is not a book for you if graphic sexual content makes you cringe, makes you uncomfortable. But if that is something that you really like, then I think you'll like this book. And then just because I want to mention this book, and it's not a romance book, but it is one of my favourite books, and that is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I've seen so many people reading it lately and really loving it, and it just makes me so happy that people are finally getting to this series and really enjoying it. It was one of my favourite books of 2019, and if you have not read it yet, go and read it because it is absolutely astonishing. One of the best young adult dystopian fantasy novels I have ever laid my eyes upon. Amazing. So we're on to the last question, question 8, and that is, be mine. What is a book that you really want to read / own? And for me, that would be These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Everyone is talking about this book at the moment, and I have massive FOMO because I really want to read it. As I have said in a previous video, I did order this from Waterstones, but unfortunately we got shoved back into lockdown, so I can't go and collect the book. I had to cancel the order, get a refund, and hopefully I will be able to buy this and get it delivered to my house at some point in the very near future because I just really want to read it. Everything about this book sounds amazing. It's set in the 1920s in Shanghai, and it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling with a fantasy twist, and I'm just so excited for it. And yeah, I just really want this book to be mine. I want to read it, I want to own it, and I just can't wait. Alright guys, so those were the questions, and that was the Love Hearts book tag. I will leave all the questions in the description box down below for you so you can have a go yourself. I really hope that you do get involved. Like I said, I've been really excited about this video for such a long time, and I'm so glad that it's finally out, and I hope you guys have as much fun with it as I did. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Please feel free to leave a cheeky thumbs up if you liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Bye guys.